Once you have your design all ready and laid out, then you'll just send it to the machine, and you should have your item hooped and ready to go. And you'll just lower the feed dog, make sure you've got enough thread, and hit start, and it will stitch out the first outline of the first step. So it's stitching now, and this is going to be a cupcake, so it's stitching the bottom cupcake wrapper. And this is an outline stitch. It's going to show you where you need to lay your fabric, your applique fabric, so that you'll know exactly where it needs to cover, the exact size it needs to cover. Now you're going to lift your feed dog and lay your fabric underneath, making sure that you cover up the entire outline. And get it underneath there. I like to pull a little bit of thread just so that you can make sure you get all the way past the edge. Make sure that you get the entire outline covered and your fabric is laying flat. Don't want any bumps or where it's not laying absolutely flat. And then you'll lower your feed dog back down and hit start. And this stitch will make sure that your applique fabric is tacked down. Just make sure it stays fairly flat as you're stitching. Keep your fingers out of the way. And now you can see that the outline is stitched down. And we're going to raise our feed dog and remove the hoop from the machine so that we can trim the excess fabric. Now that it's out, you can see where I'm trimming along the line. You're going to want to trim as close to the stitch line as possible, but you do not want to cut into the stitches. Make sure that you don't cut into the fabric underneath as you're stitching and as you're cutting it away. Now you're going to put your hoop back into the machine, lower your feed dog, and then all you have to do at this point is stitch out the next step of your applique. Just hit start. And you're just repeating the same step that you did a while ago. Fix that glare. Now I know where to put the top of our cupcake. You're going to lay out your next fabric and lower your feed dogs and then hit start again. And then this will tack down the top of the cupcake. Now you're going to pull it back out of the machine, cut away the excess fabric on this, and then we're going to do the same thing again. Put it back in and hit start. All of my remaining steps are going to be on top of the fabric. We don't have any more fabric to stitch down, and so this next step is actually going to go on top. So I went ahead and changed the thread color so that it is something that I actually want to see instead of just doing, cheap plain white that'll stitch everything down. So now I've got a blue thread in, and I'm going to hit start, and it's going to start putting in vertical lines that go within my cupcake wrapper. But I'm going to stop right here, and I'm going to pull the thread out of the way and so that it can be trimmed and that it doesn't get stuck in my design and mess it up. I'm just going to let this finish stitching all the way around, and then I'll come back and show you what the next step is when it does a satin stitch. Next step is going to be a satin stitch that encases the edge of the fabric so that you don't have that raw edge. It's going to start, what it'll do is zigzag all the way around, twice usually. And then it will come back and start a zigzag that's real close together. I'm going to move this out of the way. I'm going to do one that's real close together, and then it'll start covering up that edge. I'm wondering if this is going to do it close enough together or not. I made it so big. See if it gets my satin stitch close enough. I may have to go back over it another time. It shows the satin stitch. It's closing up that raw edge. Working like it's supposed to. I'll take long, short stitches when it gets to the corners. Now you can see on this side the edge that it just stitched is all closed up, and it covered the entire raw edge of the fabric. I'm going to let it finish, and then I'll show you what the next step is. I've changed my thread color again, and now the last step is going to be just that satin stitch that goes all the way around the top of the cupcake. It's going to do the same zigzag all the way around twice, and then it'll start the satin stitch, and then we'll be done. Alright, now it's gone all the way around. Let's finish stitching out the top, and you're finished.